Hi everybody, I'm Sindastra, and today I would like to talk to you about the Raspberry Pi Zero 2 in the GPi case. In my previous video we took a look at the GPi case and tried to answer a few questions about swapping the Pi Zero for the Zero 2. I did run into a few issues. I managed to solve most of those issues. We did learn a few things about swapping the Pi Zero for the Pi Zero 2, but we noticed that sound did not work and the buttons didn't work either after the upgrade. So I thought maybe it's the drivers that needed updating for the GPi case, since sound did not work. But today I had this thought: is sound still working on the Pi Zero? And as you can see here, well, you cannot see, but this is actually the Pi Zero 1. Right here we have the Zero 2, which I did take back out. As you can see here, Zero 2. I did swap it out for the Zero 1 again, and there's still no sound. Let me try to decrease volume. Let me try to increase volume. There's still no sound. So this tells me that it's not actually an issue with the driver for the sound not being compatible with the Pi Zero 2, but rather during the upgrade from Raspberry Pi OS 10 to 11, I would guess something broke. Perhaps the driver is not compatible with Debian 11, or some other thing changed. So at least now we know that it's not actually an issue with the Raspberry Pi Zero 2, but rather it might be an incompatibility with the OS. So let's see. And as you can see, the start button still does not work. So here's what I'm gonna do now. I'm going to remove the SD card, put the Pi Zero 2 back in here, and I think I'm gonna try to wipe this, install Raspberry Pi OS 11, do a fresh install, then install the drivers for the screen and the sound, and then finally do a manual install of Emulation Station. Because RetroPie, at the time I'm filming this, does not yet actually have an image for the Pi Zero 2. They only have an image for the Pi Zero 1. So we're gonna have to create our own image, so to speak, from scratch using Raspberry Pi OS 11, and I hope that will fix the issue. So I'll do that off camera and then we'll get back here. I'm back, and I have good news and bad news and good news. So when I said I'm going to wipe the SD card and start fresh, I honestly thought, no, just no. We are so close to getting it running that I figured it's not worth the risk to screw it up, right? So I thought instead, since it's just the sound and the select and start buttons that didn't work, I should just keep it the way it is and try to fix those two things. And the good news is I did manage to fix both. Now we have all the buttons working, including these two that didn't work earlier, and we have sound working. So I thought, since I got sound working now, I should turn the device off, right? And turn it back on in front of the camera. And that was a terrible idea, because guess what? After restart, sound wasn't working anymore. And I was like, oh crap, what am I gonna do? So I just spent over an hour troubleshooting, and I got sound working again. And this time I'm not going to reboot, at least not now. Instead, I'm going to show you that sound is working. I'm going to show you that the buttons are working, and then I can make a reboot so you can see it start fresh, so you can see how fast it is. So let's get to the Game Boy Advance. You hear this? This is the sound effect from the emulation station. This is the game we tested previously yesterday. So let's start it. Game Boy sound, please. Yes. And you'll see the bubbles now. It's so much more fluid than yesterday. You should see the fish swim from the right to the left, and it's going to be really fluid without lagging. See? With the Pi Zero first version, this part really lagged. And now the start button works too. New game. Normal. I'm ready. So let me just decrease sound a little bit. This is now running in real time. Yesterday it was lagging like a lot. I mean, if you don't know the game, it might seem like normal speed, but because I know the game, I really noticed both the music and the animations and just everything was really slow on the Zero. Now we can actually play Game Boy Advance without lagging, which is great. I mean, look at how fluid this is now. SpongeBob just got catcalled. But yeah, you get the idea. We can now play SpongeBob or whatever Game Boy Advance in real time, thanks to the Pi Zero having a much faster CPU. Oh no! Squidward! I almost forgot this coin. But I'm not gonna just be here and play Game Boy for you, because the whole point was to see the speed, like how much faster it is. In case you haven't seen, I recommend you to watch my previous video on how this failed to run properly with the Pi Zero 2, and you will see the behind the scenes and why it didn't work and everything, and yeah, or rather what didn't work. So let's exit this now, because I have a bonus for you. Really amazing, you're gonna love this, which was not possible with the Zero. Dun, 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 dun. I think it was this one. In case you're wondering why there are two, because one is USA and the other is European. I need to use the USA version. The European version also runs, but this is a classic. But the Retroflag GPi Case does not have enough control buttons. So when you start European version, it first asks for the language. So you have to choose between English and whatnot. And there's no way for me to choose because it expects analog input, which this does not have. But the American version is just in English. So we can actually get into the game by pressing start. And then press start again, because start is one of the only buttons that works. But yeah, this runs at full speed it seems, which is pretty great. I didn't expect to see Super Mario 64 on the GPi case, but it's now possible thanks to the Raspberry Pi Zero 2W. But here's the problem with this. I mean, I kinda already explained we don't have enough control, so it's a bit pointless. But at least it runs, right? So we can jump now, but that's about it, sadly. Jump and kick. These buttons don't work to navigate. The L and R, well, R seems to work for the camera. We have the start button to pause. We have select, which does nothing. So yeah, it does run, but sadly we don't have enough controls. So let's get back out of here. But yeah, as you can see, we do have Nintendo 64 running technically. I mean, yeah, you cannot control it, but it does work. Finally, let's try Super Mario Land, which is a classic. Let's hope sound works here too. I didn't actually test this, so I don't know. Yes. This is a classic. I think this was one of the first Game Boy games I got to try out. I never owned this game, but I did play on someone else's Game Boy, I remember. Possibly even before I had my own Game Boy. But SpongeBob SquarePants Revenge of the Flying Dutchman was my very first game for Game Boy Advance, and just my very first game of all of my games. Like, you understood. But yeah, I'm really happy that we can use the Pi Zero 2 now. It works with RetroPie, with sound and controls. Oh, by the way, if you're curious about the controls, what happened is basically after the update, the control configuration, dang, I missed the star, changed. These two were buttons with the key ID 6 and 7, and after the update this was 8 and 9 as far as I know, and it was not possible to reconfigure through the menu. So I thought, dang, what am I gonna do? And I cannot attach a USB keyboard, and I don't have any Bluetooth keyboards lying around to use. So what did I do? I used SSH and changed the config file for Emulation Station and changed the ID from 6 and 7 to 8 and 9, and then start and select worked again, but it did only work in Emulation Station. It did not work inside the games. So I thought maybe I need to run this setup again in Emulation Station, which was now possible since I could use start inside Emulation Station to start the menu to configure the controller. So I run the configuration again, and now it's working inside the games too. So yeah, we can now play all our games, thanks to the Pi Zero 2 having so much more power. To be fair, this already did run on the Pi Zero because Game Boy is pretty easy to emulate. I'm pretty lucky today. So yeah, I think that was about it for the video today. I'm really happy that this is now working. It took so many hours of troubleshooting. Dang it. So if you did enjoy the video, consider leaving a like and maybe subscribe for more content, because it really takes a long time to make these videos, specifically the troubleshooting and making it all work. So yeah, have a nice day, and Oh no. Have a nice day and bye, I guess. No, really, the video is over now. I'm just playing around. Go watch some more of my content. Just playing around. I really hope Nintendo isn't gonna copyright strike me for this.